So the objective of this presentation, as I say, is to talk about online IPR enforcement in the European Union. I've split the presentation into four: the objective, disruption, investigation, and conclusion. So as I mentioned this morning, when it comes to the investigation of a pirate website or a website offering counterfeit goods for sale, it could be an investigator's nightmare, because the customers might be in one or several countries. The goods might be in another country like China. The servers for the website might be in Australia, and the owners of the website might be in Brazil, and the bank accounts might be in Spain. So for an investigator, that is a nightmare. So more often than not, it's a bit of a last resort before we initiate a full investigation, and it has to be a real high priority target for us to do it. So what we try to do is partner with the legal firms that make the internet work. As I said earlier on, they are more often than not do not want to be involved in criminality. So they're more than happy to work with law enforcement to stop criminality taking place, such as piracy. Now, when it comes to the legal companies that make the internet work, you have the application layer, the layer that the user, us, see when we're accessing the internet, with the transfer of network layer, which involves the ISPs, name system, hosting providers, etc. And we have the physical layer, hardware controllers, hardware senders, sellers, etc. These, more often than not, are all legal companies that want to just carry out a legal business. If we concentrate on the application layer, the user, the layer that we say as users, so platforms, our social networks, cloud storage, etc. Gateways are the search engines such as Google. Marketplaces are like the online marketplace such as eBay or Alibaba. Transaction networks, you have the payment providers, the credit card companies, and then of course you have the advertising network, advertising agencies and advertising companies. So what we've done in the European Union is we've reached out to these legal companies that make the internet work, and we've come up with voluntary agreements where we can work together to disrupt the business model of the criminal behind the pirate website or the website offering counterfeit goods for sale. So we've developed this toolbox which we can use to disrupt the activities of the criminals online. One we've heard about a lot today, notice and takedown. Second, domain name seizures. 3, working with payment processors. 4, working with the advertisers. 5, ranking. 6, removal of sales. 7, blocking, and 8, awareness. I'll just go into a bit of detail for each one of those disruption techniques. So this is a notice and takedown system from Holland, similar to the one that you described earlier on. So the right holder will make a report to the ISP, the intermediary. The ISP can then decide if the content is legal, take no action, or the content is illegal and remove the content. More often than not, the ISP will not make that decision. They will say unable to determine. They will then reach out to the content provider and put them in contact with the right holder. If there's an agreement between the right holder and the content provider, that's the end of the process. If there's no agreement, then the right holder makes a complaint to the police or brings a civil case to court. If the content provider is unknown, the ISP, internet service provider, will just remove the content, and that's the end of the process. So that's a simple notice and takedown system from Holland and the Netherlands. When it comes to domain names, administrative bodies and/or courts can, on receipt of a complaint from a rights holder or law enforcement, authorize the seizure of the domain name, such as Pirate Bay, who we probably all know. And that Pirate Bay name can be seized, and in its place, we can put up a banner such as this, which tells the persons that try to access this website that the domain name has been seized by the authorities and redirects them potentially to legal content. Here's the removement of payment facilities. So a lot of websites will have PayPal or credit card facilities to let the user buy the goods or make donations online. And this process works like this. The rights holder will write to the ISP and the owner of the website, telling them to cease and desist. If there is no response, the right holder will fill out an online form on the roadblock website. This form will then be checked by a right holder body called the International Association, basically an anti-counterfeiting body. They will check the form has been completed correctly. If the form is completed correctly, it is submitted to a law enforcement center in the United States called the IPR Center. The IPR Center will look at the websites and it will decide to initiate its own investigation. And if it does so, then that is the end of the process for the right holder. However, if the IPR Center, the law enforcement body, does not want to initiate investigation, the complaint form is forwarded to the credit card companies and they remove their payment facilities from the website. It doesn't arrest anyone, but it destroys the business model of the owners of the website. That system, by the way, is open to right holders and law enforcement all around the world. So it's open to you also. Here is when it comes to adverts, lots and lots of websites now, particularly pirate websites, make money from adverts on their website. And there is a lot of money. Some of the bigger, more notorious websites will make millions of US dollars every year from websites, from adverts on their website. This is a sample of a process in Austria, which has been agreed between the right holders and the advertising companies to remove adverts from infringing websites. So basically, a complaint is made to the Advertising Standards Council. The Advertising Standards Council will check the complaint. If it feels it's justified, it will forward the request to the advertising company and ask them to remove their advert from the website. If the advertising company removes its advert from the website, that's the end of the procedure. If it disputes and will not remove the advert, then there is a dispute resolution process where a decision is made whether to remove the website from the advert from the website or not. Of course, if the right holder is unhappy with the process, they still have the option or the safety net of taking their complaint to court. But this, of course, is much faster than any court system. WIPO also has a process that assists advertising companies stop placing adverts on criminal websites. So law enforcement and right holders send the URL, the addresses of criminal websites to WIPO. WIPO keeps a database of these websites, which is open to advertising companies. And advertising companies should check the WIPO database first to confirm that none of the websites they are planning to advertise on are criminal. So that is a system managed by WIPO to help advertisers stop funding criminality. The other disruption we take is we work with the search engines such as Google or Safari. And basically what we want to achieve is to ensure that the search engine algorithms, whenever you type in, Madonna, a Madonna song, then the first top 10 hits are not links to pirate websites. So that's what we do when we work with the search engines to make sure that their algorithms do not prioritize pirate content. We also work with eBay. eBay has a proactive facility, like many online marketplaces now, to remove pirate content, or sorry, counterfeit content, goods for sale. But you can also apply to them directly as a right holder, as law enforcement, to remove counterfeit shops from their platform, and they will comply. We mentioned blocking earlier today. So blocking is where, say, for instance, there's a Russian website, and the Russian website is making pirate content available to consumers in Georgia. Then what we want to do is we want to block access of that Russian website to the consumers in Georgia. And we do that using a court order. So here we have the rights, the unlawful content, the right holder, and this trade association called the Rights Alliance. They will make a complaint to the courts, and they will also inform the telecommunications body responsible for licensing access providers to the internet. The case goes to courts. If the court rules against the right holder, then access to the Russian website stays up. If the court finds in favor of the right holder, then the court order is sent to the access provider, which is giving access to that Russian website to the consumers in the country. Now, the twist on this Danish system is because one court order is made against one access provider, then it's presumed that all access providers in Denmark must block access to the Russian website as well. So one court order served on one access provider is duplicated to all access providers in Denmark. The other thing we do, of course, is we raise awareness. It was mentioned that SAC Patente is responsible for raising awareness. So we do look at how we can impact and stop consumers accessing, for instance, pirate content. And one of the very real dangers of accessing pirate content is identity theft or malware being deposited on the consumer's computer. So we raise awareness about this danger to try and prevent consumers accessing the pirate content. The other thing we do is we promote the legal alternatives to the pirate content. So the EU IPO has developed this platform. If you click on your country, then you can go and find out where you can find access to the music, movies, or TV series in your country legally. So we promote access to legal content. Investigation. So as I said, it is a last resort because more often than not, pirate websites, other websites involve multiple jurisdictions. So it's a very, very last resort to initiate investigation. But if you do initiate investigation, you should always try to follow the money. Who pays for the hosting service? Who pays for the domain name? Where does the money paid by credit cards, which bank account does it go to? Adverts, the revenue generated by the adverts on the website, which bank account does it go to? So if you do launch an investigation, then you should follow the money to try and identify the people behind the websites. So in conclusion, intermediaries are legal companies and can be effective allies in the fight or when it comes to online IPR enforcement. Voluntary measures, like we've just discussed, can have a quicker impact. And sometimes that's what the right holder wants. They just want the infringement removed as quick as possible. They can't be bothered waiting for a court case. Voluntary measures can be cheaper. Voluntary measures, of course, may be the only option if you cannot identify or you cannot force the jurisdiction where a website is based to take down the website. So investigation, last resort. If you do it, follow the money. Thank you very much for your time.